What comes to mind when you look at this photograph?
Well, this is a long time ago. I feel that I was such a young and naive photographer. The month before this picture was taken, Alan Bond and his America's Cup team were in Newport, Rhode Island. As I watched, on a postage stamp black and white TV, the yacht crossed the finish line, a little puff of smoke as the gun went off. We took the America's Cup off the New York Yacht Club after 132 years, which was extraordinary. And this was little old Perth taking on the world, but it felt as if we, at this point, were the centre of the world. This was a street parade to celebrate. It came down St George's Terrace, I remember that. I was working for a newspaper called the Western Mail then, which was a Saturday paper started by the businessman Robert Holmescourt. And we had an 8-storey building on St George's Terrace, and we were up on the roof photographing the start of the parade. And they had the giant boxing kangaroo at the front of the parade. I didn't see this, but apparently Princess Margaret Children's Hospital had wheeled children in their beds to a certain spot to watch the parade. That would have been extraordinary. I wish I'd got that picture. Along came Alan Bond, who of course was the face of the America's Cup, really. We were shooting black and white pictures then on film and going back to dark rooms to print them. Because it's a black and white picture, you don't actually see that open-top Rolls Royce is bright pink, Barbie-Pink. He stood up in the open-top Rolls Royce and A lot of people seeing this picture think that he's actually holding the America's Cup up aloft, but if you look closely, it's just a replica that somebody's made on their kitchen table. I can remember it coming back up William Street, and there was a car with John Bertrand, who was the skipper of Australia 2, and Ben Lexon, the designer. They were in a car together with the America's Cup. That car broke down on William Street. They got out the car and started pushing it. From there, the parade went down William Street onto the Langley Park. Massive crowd. There was a small stage. Several photographers crammed onto it. I was at the back of the stage as Bond and John Bertrand came on stage and held the America's Cup aloft with the crowd behind. I think that was probably the pinnacle of the event, and I was shooting black and white pictures. So this would be from the West Archive, and Bond, of course, was then the local hero. Later he went from hero to zero with his business dealings, but at that moment, he was on top of the world.
The America's Cup defence, where else but on 7?
And then, of course, 1987, the defence of the America's Cup in Fremantle went. Fremantle had been transformed. The government poured a lot of money into Fremantle. Lots of heritage buildings were restored. So Fremantle was buzzing. I think it was a Sunday when Dennis Conner was due to take his boat out onto Gage Roads for the first time. There was a big crowd there for that. I wasn't shooting pictures. I was there as a spectator. I did go out onto Gage Roads on a couple of occasions to shoot some of the racing. I found it very confusing. How do these yachts know where to go? I can remember being out and when Kookaburra lost in straight sets. I think it was best of 7 races, but they lost the first 4 and that was it. Dennis Conner's Stars or Struts took the cup back to the New York Yacht Club.
40 years of photographs, do you feel like you are a part of history, or at least capturing history?
I think absolutely, yeah. I mean, they say that news is the first draft of history, and the camera absolutely plays a part in that.
In one word, how would you describe your career?
Lucky.